Someone stole my credit card and bought an iPad, but had it shipped to my house. What's your best stupid criminal story? I'm guessing they accidentally went with the default ship to billing address option. The kicker is they actually called me, pretending to be a Best Buy employee, said they had shipped a package in error and I should leave it outside for UPS to pick up. Luckily, I noticed the charge on my credit card and was able to return the iPad for a full refund. I gave the phone number to the cops. Mine was stolen once. The person ordered about $75 worth of pizza and had it delivered to their house. I visited the pizza place, said I needed a receipt for the pizza so my company would pay me back. They gave me a receipt showing the address they delivered it to. Turned it into the police in town and they were on the news 2 days later. My parents were driving home and saw their second car coming the other way, turned around, followed it, and stole it back with their spare set of keys, and yes, obviously then reported the matter to the police. They stole it back. Nice. A friend of mine had his backpack with his $1,400 engineering laptop in it, stolen, while at the campus food court. I had a weird gut feeling it would turn up on Craigslist, or somewhere similar. Every day for a week I checked Craigslist. Exactly 1 week later, I found the laptop. This extremely stupid criminal took a picture of the laptop screen with my friend's login name. Yeah, very stupid criminal. So I contacted the seller immediately via email and he responded within 20 minutes. I said I'd like to buy the laptop from him. We agreed to meet at a nearby parking lot later that day. Next, we called the cops. They agreed to set up a sting on the thief. One of the officers pretended to be a buyer and approached the thief. The officer acted as if he was examining the laptop, but was actually looking for the serial number. Boom, it had a matching serial number and they arrested this dumb shit. A week ago, 4 months later, the guy was proven guilty, and to my knowledge, is spending a year in prison. Plus, my buddy finally got his laptop back. Someone stole my wife's debit card and used it for online gambling websites in Europe, and ended up winning. The winning automatically went right back onto her account. Jackpot. Yeah, but she couldn't keep it since she had already disputed the charges with the bank and frozen the account. The lesson here is, if someone uses your credit for online gambling, wait and see if they win before calling the police. My grandfather is a war veteran, the gung-ho type that loves his automatic weapon collection. Not a redneck, he actually lived up in northern USA, he just was a high-ranking human weapon with a love of guns. Fast forward from 1950 to 1999, retired and nearly 80 years old, my grandfather was out on his lawn power washing his boat when a thief came up behind him and ordered him into his house at gunpoint. While inside the house, my grandfather instructed this single thief that all of his money was upstairs in a box in his coat room. Thinking my grandfather an old and weak person, the thief leaves him alone to go retrieve his loot upstairs. Grandfather goes to his gun case in the other room, retrieves an M401 assault rifle. He makes a quick stop at his liquor cabinet to pour himself a glass of scotch, and is waiting silently in a rocking chair facing the stairs. There was no money in the coat room closet. The thief was angry now. Rushing down the stairs, he nearly shit himself when he sees an assault rifle pointed at him. He stumbles down the stairs and knocks himself out cold on the hardwood railing on the way down. Grandfather ties him up and calls police. TLDR, do at least a little research before you rob Granbo. One of my friend's co-workers worked at a petrol station. One night when he wasn't working, he put on a mask and robbed it with his friend. He demanded the extra cigarettes which were located under the counter from the clerk. The clerk just replied there weren't any cigarettes there. He realized, yes there are, I know because I work here. Well, this is pretty damn stupid. Stupid girl found my debit card after I had dropped it on campus. Took it to Wilson's Leather and bought her boyfriend a leather jacket. When my card didn't have enough on it to pay the whole cost of the jacket, she used her own debit card to finish paying it off. All on video. There's a possibly apocryphal story that a wealthy lady in New Haven, CT had her purse stolen. Inside the purse was her Yale Co-op card. The Yale Co-op is the campus store. A little while later, someone showed up at the co-op and tried to pay with the card. The cashier asked her to wait a moment while she verified the purchase. After a short interval, two gentlemen in blue uniforms showed up and invited the shopper to ride with them in their car. Unfortunately, the stolen car belonged to Mrs. Kingman Brewster. Kingman Brewster happened to be the president of Yale at the time, meaning that pretty much everyone connected to the university would recognize his name. And while the cashier might not have known exactly what Mrs. Brewster looked like, she had a pretty shrewd idea that the president of America's oldest and waspiest college wasn't married to a 17-year-old African-American girl. TLDR, teenage bag snatcher tries to use a prominent person's charge card in the one store in town where everyone will instantly know that it's not hers. Someone stole my credit card info and bought a copy of their credit report with it. I looked that mofo up on Facebook too, since the CC company somehow ended up sending me a full copy of his credit report during the investigation, and I was like, dude, poke him. I've got one from this past weekend actually. I volunteer cleaning up a local park. It's called a park, but it has no facilities, no employees, etc. It's really more of a forest, and it doesn't get much official attention. Anyway, almost every day, I walk through, pick up trash, and ensure it's properly disposed of. It's a beautiful park and I like to keep it that way. So Sunday afternoon, I found that someone had dumped a huge amount of construction debris in the park along one of the access roads. As I piled it up neatly, I found a receipt with a guy's name, address, and phone number, along with a description of his vehicle, including the make, model, mileage, and VIN. So I called the state park police and asked to speak with an officer. Showed him the dumped trash, showed him the receipt I found, and made a formal complaint. He gave me the usual "we'll let you know if we need anything else from you." The officer called me last night to thank me for finding the receipt. He said they went and paid the guy a visit, found that vehicle in the driveway, and he answered the door. "Are you John Doe?" He said, "Yes, that's me." The officer said he insisted he knew nothing about illegal dumping, no surprise, and when it seemed like the interrogation was going nowhere, he pulled out the receipt, and then the guy said, "That's not my name." He already said it was him. The officer told me that's when he said, "Okay sir, if you're not going to properly identify yourself, you're under arrest for obstructing a government official, a class A misdemeanor, and we'll fingerprint you at the station and find out who you really are." Suddenly the guy's story changed. He was the guy on the receipt, that was his truck, and he dumped the trash in the park. The officer even said that the guy said, "I never thought I'd get caught." And he wouldn't have either, if it wasn't for us meddling kids. TLDR, guy dumps construction debris in park, leaves receipt with name, address, phone number, make, model, color, mileage of vehicle and VIN. Guy lies about it when questioned by police, comes clean after confronted with receipt. There's a place in the not so nice area of Dallas that sells insanely precise novelty driver's licenses for a justifiably high price. These two geniuses were in line ahead of me purchasing theirs, and one of them put his actual birth date on the thing. Dumbus paid $150 for a fake ID that says he's 19. Now that's some Aggie genius there. My soccer team was playing a game at a local park. During the game, a sketchy looking guy runs through the pitch we are playing on, holding several cell phones. We soon realize that said valuables belong to us, and begin chasing him. He probably thought that he has made a profit, stealing cell phones worth hundreds, until he looks back and sees 30 people chasing him down. When we caught him, we took our valuables back and proceeded to beat the crap out of him. The thing is, our changing rooms are roughly 200 yards from the field, so why run directly past the people you've just robbed when you could easily sneak away? Yeah, steal from a large, athletic group, warmed up and ready to run, who are wearing cleats. That's a ducking great idea. I bet he had the worst bruises imaginable. Amex is a little overzealous in their anti-fraud practices. I just purchased about $1,200 of parts for my new home computer rig from Newegg.com. I get a call about 30 minutes later from Amex asking if it was me. I said, yes. What kind of thief would send computer parts to the billing address? His response was, you would be surprised. incredulous. When I was 16 years old, some former friends broke into my basement. Among a couple of other random things, they stole my radio, which was a giant boombox, and my bike. They also stole a couple of sports collectibles that belonged to my stepfather. My stepfather was not the type of person you wanted to piss off. While he was never a violent person, but he had no problems with resorting to violence if need be. His sons, though, had hair-triggered tempers. It didn't take much for them to want to beat the shit out of someone. I'm pissed. My stepfather is about to lose his shit. He calls up his sons, who head over to the house. As they're about to pull in, they hear music. The kids who broke into my house were in the schoolyard 3 houses down from where I live, listening to my radio, and one is sitting on my bike. Beatings were issued. This happened to my fiance's family. A few years ago, this drunk stoned guy came in and started pounding on the door at 3 in the morning. My fiance's dad came to the door and yelled, "What the F do you want?" The idiot stared back and said, "I'm here for the party." My fiance's dad closed the door. The guy kept trying to get in. My fiance's dad screamed at the guy that there was no party here and get the F off his property. The guy went around to the garage and got into my future mother-in-law's car. By this time, father-in-law has called the cops, grabbed his gun, and is coming out with the family's 130-pound German Shepherd. The guy sees father-in-law, freaks out and tries to run. The dog bites the dumbass on his butt and stops the guy in his tracks. The cops show up and arrest the guy. Casey, the dog, comes trotting back up to the family with jeans, a piece of boxers and skin in his mouth. Edit, TLDR, guy wants to party, ends up with a new hole in his butt. Oh, forgot my stupid criminal story. It's kind of separate from my explanation of why the thief probably did this. Someone stole my credit card number and paid their energy company. Hope you enjoy getting your electricity shut off. The cable company, again, has your SSN ID info. Multiple postpaid cell companies will have SSN. Catering has to be delivered somewhere. Hair braiding. Think they won't remember what you look like? I checked my transaction across all accounts on Mint daily, but at that time my issuer didn't show pending transactions. So I only caught the fraud a few days later when the charges posted and I saw them. Issuer didn't see anything amiss. I never found the source of my breach. Some members of a forum and I had a common shop and we suspect they were the source, but we have no proof. Many months after the fraud occurred, my name, address, phone number, credit card info, expiration date, and security code were uploaded to Pastebin with the information of about 400 something other people. I found this out when some stranger called me and said, "Your card number is online, cancel your card." I then googled my card number, already cancelled so no harm, and it was on Pastebin. It was a free taster for some criminals selling the card numbers, to show that they had real numbers to sell. That guy was calling down the list to be a good person. I reported it to Pastebin and it was quickly removed. We left our garage open a few years ago at night by accident. Apparently someone had been snooping around in there because everything was out of place in the morning, except for a solid gold bracelet laying on the ground outside the garage door. What did they steal? My ducking razor scooter man. Maybe it was one of those action movie moments, where protagonist needed a way to chase the villain, and the best they could do was drop an expensive bracelet as payment.